Hi, I'm Caylie See, the founder of Acupuncture Kitchen. Thank you for joining me this evening to discuss a lascivious topic. Do aphrodisiacs deliver what they promise? And if so, how can we use plant and food-based love potions in our everyday enjoyment? Here's a quote to start off our evening. I think this is an important quote to set the precedent for this chat because tonight we'll explore corroborating science and our body and mind and impulses to explore and expand the complexities of our sensuality. So let's dive in. The term aphrodisiac comes from the classical Greek reference to Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Throughout history, people have sought out love potions to invoke infatuation and stamina and secure relationships. In folk medicine, plants and animals have been touted as aphrodisiacs, and some have now been identified pharmacologically for their mechanisms of action to enhance aspects of sexual prowess. For instance, a recent study suggests that watermelons, because they contain large amounts of a nutrient called citrulline, which like erectile dysfunction drugs can relax blood vessels, has Viagra-like effects. Chinese medicine is based on extrapolating the principles of nature onto the body's physiology. For instance, the oyster's reputation may have arisen because of this mollusk's resemblance to female genitalia. This principle of like treats like is called the doctrine of similarities. And we often find that this aesthetic knowledge lends itself to a clue about a plant or animal's chemical constituents and physiological effects. For instance, oysters are high in zinc, which is essential to testosterone production and sperm maintenance. Zinc also triggers the feel-good hormone serotonin. Casanova must have known this because was said to consume over 50 oysters a day. I'm not sure if that was a euphemism or not. So, to quote a recent book I read from the history of the oyster, why can't we be more like oysters and lie around in bed all day? Now that we have some basis for the mechanisms, let's talk about more specific foods and allure. One peer-reviewed journal stated that all palatable foods stimulate endorphin release in the brain. And this is certainly one of the likely explanations that accounts for elevated pleasure through edible goodies. Truffles, for instance, their musky scent replicates the scent of male pheromones, specifically aldosterone. The scent of dry champagne replicates the delicate aromas of female pheromones, and it was Marilyn Monroe's favorite drink. Ginseng is an important Chinese herb that has traditionally been used to promote longevity, treat weakness and fatigue, and restore balance. Ginseng is classified as an adaptogen, which means that it increases resistance to physical, chemical, and biological stressors and builds up general vitality. Ginseng works as an antioxidant through its bioactivity with nitric oxide, which was named Molecule of the Year 1992 by the Journal of Science for its direct relaxation effect on blood vessels, and ginseng's ability to increase blood flow, hence the aphrodisiac or circulatory effects. So recent studies in animals have shown that both Asian and American forms of ginseng enhance libido. In our exploration of ginseng, let's not forget the Chinese sea cucumber called haishen, which translates to sea ginseng. This slippery, phallic-looking ocean animal is prepared as a delicacy over an intricate 3-day process that makes it edible. This can give us some clues on dedication and romance. Ambrion is found in the gut of sperm whales. I swear I didn't make this up. It's used in the preparation of perfumes and to improve sexual performance. It's been shown that it does this by increasing concentrations of several of the anterior pituitary hormones, or sex hormones, and serum testosterone. I don't condone using Ambrion in this way, but thought it was interesting academically. Hot peppers contain capsicum, a chemical irritant that increases heart and respiratory rate, sweating, and increased blood flow, mimicking the body's arousal response. Ginger is high in antioxidants, increases circulation, and is a diaphoretic, which means it causes sweating. And one animal study showed ginger increased testosterone production. so like peppers, it mimics an arousal response. The history of ginger dates as far back as 500 BC in writings from the Chinese philosopher Confucius. Through this extensive history, this plant has been attributed with having positive physical effects on sexual relationships. Avicenna, an Arab physician, credited ginger with increasing lustful yearnings, and Greek and Roman medical philosophers concluded that it had a stimulating effect on the male sex organ. It's even mentioned in the Kama Sutra and the Quran as being served at feasts in paradise. Here's a recipe for making your own le jus amour, or love juice. Just take some ginger juice, fresh squeezed lemons and honey and rose water, and pour over ice and enjoy with your loved one. Cinnamon increases appetite, both physical and sexual. In Chinese herbology, we say it warms the channels and builds the kidney system, which is analogous to working on the reproductive system. You can add half a cup of honey to running bath water with a dash of cinnamon for a nice soak. Haitian lore claims that basil comes from Urzuli, the goddess of love. Fennel is estrogenic and can bolster sex hormones. It was analyzed in great depth by Sir Charles Dodds, who developed the first synthesized oral estrogen in 1938. Rosemary stimulates memories, so if it's present during an amorous event, it may evoke that memory whenever it's encountered again. And perhaps you can use it as nature's tickler, too. Even though Adam and Eve are purported to have covered themselves with fig leaves, they are regarded simply from their appearance to enhance love and fertility. Honey is known as the nectar of Aphrodite. The Kama Sutra says that honey spiced with nutmeg heightens an orgasm. The honeymoon period after a wedding is called that because it used to be that a newly married couple were encouraged to drink large quantities of mead or honey wine to enhance their sex lives. Honey, like ginseng, reduces nitric oxide, which dilates or relaxes the blood vessels. So there seems to be an emerging theme about aphrodisiacs and relaxation, no? Pine nuts have been used for centuries to make up love potions. The Arabian medical scholar Galen recommended eating 100 pine nuts before going to bed, and these love kernels are consumed in large quantities by communities around the northwestern Himalayas, where there are also high birth rates. Walnuts are rich in protein and high in potassium, zinc, and iron and omega-3s, and just recently, researchers announced that they have produced a Viagra alternative based on these nutrient-rich nuts. The ancient Romans threw walnuts instead of rice at weddings because they believed walnuts held these aphrodisiac powers. The Aztec word for avocado translates as testicle, and maidens were forbidden to come out of the house while the fruit was being gathered. Like love, the phallic-shaped asparagus takes time to well up. An asparagus, as a matter of fact, takes several years to generate a mature stalk. In Chinese medicine, this erect vegetable again nourishes the kidney or reproductive system. It's also full of potassium, phosphorus, calcium, vitamin E, and folic acid, which boosts histamine production, a precursor to reaching orgasm. The roots are believed to increase compassion and love. And love is really what's at the root of our talk. There was a poem inscribed around 2000 BC called the Samhita of Sushruta that contains descriptions of natural remedies such as good food, music, perfumes, appropriate surroundings, and not least, adequate partners to enhance sexual experience. Relationships can of course be bittersweet, and it's said that eating crow after an argument slows down the frenzy of fighting. Barring that, I encourage you to use your own creativity, which will result in your unique recipes. I would speculate that regardless of the ingredients, the act of thoughtful preparation and the anticipation of giving and receiving allows many of these foods to convey their intended charms. And please consult with your Chinese medicine doctor if you're seeking more advanced herbal support for your health, vitality, or libido.